Well, the San Diego Gulls are still somehow doing well against the Central Division, but they are quickly running out of time. We'll talk about that on this edition of Locked On Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jason J.D. Hernandez. I've been covering hockey for well over a decade, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase at Gametime. I am the public address voice for the Coachella Valley Firebirds here at Acrisure Arena, Palm Desert, California. Have also been covering hockey for well over a decade. I've helped out with Defend the Nest, which covers the San Diego Gulls, and been covering minor league hockey for about that long. Speaking of San Diego Gulls, they're quickly running out of time to make the playoffs, and yet somehow they're still doing well against the Midwest. But the Pacific, for some reason, the Gulls inexplicably have done terrible against their own division. If it wasn't for that, okay, look, the Gulls have a winning record against the Central Division. And somehow, I think they're like 9-4 or 9-5 against the Central Division and considerably worse against the Pacific. So we're going to talk about that very quickly. Let's go over how the Gulls have fared against the Central. They've beaten Milwaukee. I mean, they beat Milwaukee this week, which is still amazing to me that they beat Milwaukee. They fared well against other teams in the Central Division, and this has been the case pretty much all season long. I mean, you had those wins against the Chicago Wolves, who are good. You had the big wins at Rockford, which I still can't believe they just curb stomped Rockford. They kicked the crap out of Chicago. Beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee, by the way. Like, how does that even happen? And they got points against Rockford back home. So they know what they're doing against the Midwest. And they even did well against the Iowa Wild. I mean, the Wild are terrible now. But my point still stands on that. Oh, man. I mean, the one team that they haven't done well against was the Texas Stars, who, by the way, just lost a game here in overtime to the Firebirds on Wednesday night. This is Gulls Thursday, by the way. So what is it about the Gulls and the Central Division or the Midwest? Well, to be honest, I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't think the Midwest teams are that strong this year. The Wolves have been mired in mediocrity all season long. The Iowa Wild, they're last in their division, but they're not just last. They're last and having some pretty poor efforts. The only team that has done well in that division is the Milwaukee Admirals, and they are struggling big time right now. This is a team that had won 18, 19 games in a row, and then all of a sudden, they've just fallen off a cliff completely, including a bad loss for them to the San Diego Gulls. And Milwaukee, they were in first place by a lot in the West. All of a sudden, their lead just not only evaporated, but they lost that lead. The Coachella Valley Firebirds, they're in first place in all the West now, and the Firebirds are looking to clinch number one throughout the Western Conference playoffs. So Milwaukee's fallen off, and I don't even believe in them all too much. Who does that leave? Texas Stars. Texas is a good team, but they struggle down the stretch, and we saw that at Acrisure Wednesday night. So to be honest, I think part of it is the division is not that good. And part of it is maybe the Gulls kind of step up a little bit for those kind of matchups. And there's been a lot of those this season. I've talked about the games against Milwaukee, but even just like the games when they had that long stretch where they were on the road. They were on the road against Rockford, on the road against Milwaukee. They do well against them. Part of that is they happen to have certain guys that come back to the team or come back from injury against those teams. So it's inexplicable, but it's really not, folks. And I'm actually going to talk about that game first on this segment. The first game against the Milwaukee Admirals last Friday. This was one that the Gulls had just come off of a big win against the Ontario Reign, and they were coming in with a lot of confidence. Milwaukee had just lost a couple of games. Their winning streak was now over. So Milwaukee was trying to come back a little bit, and Firebirds fans will thank the San Diego Gulls for just beating them down last Friday at Acrisure Arena. Let's get into that game. It started off with a player coming on the lineup finally. Jan Mysak finally got to the San Diego Gulls lineup. He was put in the fourth line with Blake McLaughlin and Travis Howe. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Josh Lapina did move up to the third line. It was kind of a weird mashup of lines. I mean, the top line is still DeLeo, God, and King. But everything after that, this felt like a throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And putting Mysak in that line, I mean, it's fine. But I know he's a little bit more of a playmaker than just being on that line. First period, it was Chase DeLeo that just got into the zone very quickly. He had a lot of time and scored the Gulls' first goal of the game, making it 1-0 San Diego. Later on, they just kept it going. Second period was just really hard work, really crashing the net, and all of a sudden, you saw a juicy rebound for Nikita Nesterenko, but that was hard work by him because Nesterenko got the puck into the zone. Nesterenko just kind of hurled it towards the net, did not go in at first, but he worked at it. He got his own rebound and just chucked it in, making it 2-0 San Diego. And they looked good. They looked pretty solid in that first period. Both goals coming kind of in that home plate area, and they were getting the high danger chances. Milwaukee, they had a couple of high danger spots too, but you know who saved the day was Wu Clang for the kids. Callie Clang was on top of things in this game. And I even had a little like asking no moment in this game. Fans are familiar with Yaroslav Askarov, who plays a little bit erratic, so to speak. Askarov has goalie adventures. That's what we'll call them. He has goalie adventures, including one that happened here last season's playoffs where he just misplayed one. This one, I think Askarov maybe wanted one of those back. If there was any that he probably wants back, it was that second goal to Nikita Nesterenko, because Askarov probably should have gotten control of that one. The rebound control was not good at that one. And for a split second, the puck was right in front of him, and he just didn't put his glove down. He could have stopped it and just didn't put his glove down for whatever reason, and just picked it up. And that was a goal with about 40 seconds left. So 2-0 San Diego. And then Andrew Agozzino strikes on San Diego's first power play. In fact, their only power play of the game. And Agozzino struck gold, making it 3-0 San Diego. Yeah, imagine being Milwaukee going, crap, what just happened? And that was another one where there was just a good shot that Askarov stopped. But again, rebound control, not the best for Askarov. And Agozzino just, picked up the garbage, made it 3-0. After that, it was just pretty much cruise control. And also San Diego doing their best impression of the Ducks and giving Milwaukee chances. They gave them a lot of chances, by the way, because the penalty parade started again. But I'm not going to harp on it. I'm not going to repeat myself because I've done that several times this season. But they did their Ducks impression. A bad penalty. Stop me if you've heard this. San Diego committed a too many men penalty. I've talked at length on this podcast. The everydayers are used to me saying this, but stop committing too many men penalties. Yeah. Joaquim Kamel scored his 14th of the season on the power play, of course. But Glenn Godden made it 4-1 San Diego. And then Milwaukee really poured it on. And San Diego just let them waltz into the zones. The third period was all Milwaukee. Penalty after penalty after penalty. And what do you think is going to happen if you keep committing penalties? You're going to give the other team a chance to score, and that happened. Tomasino on the power play. Cody Hodgson on the power play. All of a sudden, Milwaukee scored 3 power play goals, and it's 4-3 San Diego. And Milwaukee just kept on coming. But with only like 7 seconds left, Chase DeLeo scored his second of the game on the empty netter. That was the end of the game. 5-3 was your final. So San Diego played very well for 40 minutes. I'm not exaggerating here. They played to defend. They didn't keep the foot on the gas. They played to hold that lead. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly how they played it, but they got the win, and a win is a win to keep them kind of alive in the postseason. All right, we're going to head to the first intermission right now, talk a little bit more about the last couple of games, which did not go well, by the way. Stay locked in. Now, a brief word from the Gametime app. And folks, if you haven't used the Gametime app, what are you waiting for? Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. They have great tickets at low prices, guaranteed. They have zone deals, flash deals, and they also have the Gametime guarantee, which means if you find a seat in that section for a better price, then Gametime will pay you the difference and 110% back. I mean, who can beat that? I mean, the Gametime guarantee is one of the best things they got going for them, but they have great all-in prices, 2 taps, and you are in. It's one reason why I've used Gametime over and over again, and you should too. So download the Gametime app right now and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first order. Again, download the Gametime app, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase at Gametime. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Gulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jason JD Hernandez. Let's talk about the last couple of Gulls games, which we're going to do because, we kind of have to here. And the reason I want to talk about these 2 games is because I think there was a lot to learn about the Gulls and a little bit to learn about just the team in general. The last game against Milwaukee over the weekend, first off, it was St. Patrick's Day. They had their special green jerseys, which did look pretty cool. I'll be honest. I thought it looked cool. But this one, I think, was a matter of just running out of gas. That's what I think it was. First one, they started right freaking away. San Diego came out guns a-blazing. They had all the momentum and all the energy just coming out. And right away, you had a roughing penalty for Milwaukee. So San Diego goes in the power play. In that power play, San Diego did something that they need to work on, and this looked very structured. The passing game was completely on point in that first power play. And it was great. I mean, they had chances. It was pass. And finally, there was a shot that went on net. And Agazino got the rebound out in front, making it 1-0 San Diego off of a rebound off Troy Grosenick. Yeah, it wasn't Yarrow. It was Troy Grosenick, who was still pretty good. And I'm thinking, San Diego came out blazing the first minute and a half. Maybe this is a change. Oh, nope. 45 seconds later, Wade Allison scored, tying things up at 1 goal apiece. After that, it was a pretty solid back and forth, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, it was a good flow. There were a couple of power plays each way. And Milwaukee kind of changed up their strategy a little bit. They started to make the simple passes, Don't go for the home run pass. Just keep it simple. Get it out of the zone, get to the neutral zone, find some space, and just get it into the zone. And they even did a little bit of dump and chase, but it seems to work okay for Milwaukee. And the Admirals, they almost, got another goal against. Milwaukee tried their best, but somehow remains tied at 1 going into the second period. In that second period, they didn't come out hot at all in that second period. Tomas Sukanek just had to make what I thought was the save of a game. Super pad-to-pad save. Lateral movement was just amazing. And after that, the Gulls kind of said, okay, now we're going to go back to the basics. We're going to keep it simple. And Nathan Gaucher, he did a great job on that penalty kill, on the Agazino slashing penalty. After the penalty ended, San Diego got a little bit more energy, and the legend of Sasha Pastujov continues his 6th of the season in limited action. Pasta's good, folks. I've always been kind of a fan of Sasha Pastujov, just in general. And what I like about Pasta is he has worked hard at his skating. You could see that. The hands are good. The IQ was good. The vision is very good. And he just went across the zone with ease, used a good screen on defense, and he just ripped it towards the net. That made it 2-1 San Diego. So now it's looking like this is a chance for the Gulls to actually kind of win. But after that, it got a little bit rough there. Milwaukee, they were getting pissed off. They didn't like that calls weren't going their way. They were about to lose again. They're about to continue their losing streak. And then all of a sudden, Milwaukee does what they usually do, and they just start pestering everyone. They caused the Gulls to go on a penalty kill. Luckily for San Diego, nothing happened there, and it was still 2-1 after 2 periods. After that, Milwaukee clogged every lane possible. They played some of their best defense that we've seen in about 3 weeks, where they just shut everything down. San Diego only got 4 shots on net, Milwaukee 6, but they slowed things down. They shut them down. And after that, Kamel tied it up. And then Ty Fellhaber got the Admirals the game-winning goal midway through the third period. And that's your final score, 3-2 in favor of Milwaukee. Now, in the midst of that, Milwaukee tied it 2-2. The Gulls thought they had the lead. But you know what? It was just one of those plays. So Pastujov did a good job of leading that offense. And it was a tip on a Nikita Nesterenko shot, but it was a high stick. And you know what? That was a tough one, because when they showed the replay, one angle looked like it might have been a good goal, but there was another replay that I thought, maybe he actually did get it. But the refs are usually right there. If you hear it clip off the stick, then usually they will make that call. And from another angle, it looked like it could have been close. Yeah, we'll go with close on that one. The referees in general in the American Hockey League, they've been making that call, where if it is a little bit closer, if it is right on the bar, they will deem it a high stick and no goal. We saw that here at Coachella Valley about a month and a half ago, where it looked really close from one angle, and they just called it no goal. So San Diego does not take the 3-2 lead. That's when Milwaukee gets the momentum. They score the game-winning goal, so 3-2 in favor of the Admirals. The game this morning against the San Jose Barracuda, this was a tough one to watch, folks. This one, San Diego, I thought looked very good to start. Josh Lapina got what we can just be described as try to get the stick on anything. And it looked like he got it in midair, but Lapina looks like he got his first goal as the puck was coming down, 1-0 San Diego. Then after that, San Jose, did a good job of tying things up and then took the lead. But Trevor Carrick let one just trickle through, making it 2-2. Then Nikita Nesterenko in the second period made it 3-2 San Diego. This one was just hard work. Again, this is something that Nesterenko has done a couple of times this season, where he'll get it towards the net, get his own rebound, and score the goal. So he's done that maybe 3 times this season. So 3-2 goals. San Jose tied it up again. And then Nathan Gaucher just let one rip. Just a nice snipe shot. And that was one that I think could have been stopped by, at the time, I want to say it was Romanov at the time. So all of a sudden, Gulls have the lead. And then San Jose just took over after that. They wound up winning the game 6-4. Cardwell got the game-winning goal. Shakir Mohammedullin got the 6th goal. So San Diego somehow losing to the worst team in the Pacific Division again. All right. So those are the games. I'm going to talk about the standings after this brief intermission. We'll get to that on the other side. Now a brief word from eBay Motors. That is right. Passion, drive, patience very much underlined, is what brings home the winning trophy and also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to Locked On Gulls, which is under the umbrella of Locked On Anaheim Ducks and part of the Locked On Podcast Network. So time is almost up on this podcast, and time is almost up for the San Diego Gulls in general. With that loss Wednesday morning against the San Jose Barracuda, that gives them a lot to desire as far as standings are concerned. And also, that's their second consecutive loss. And this is a bad one, folks, because around the rest of the league, everyone else that they're chasing did get wins. So a brief look at the standings, because time is quickly running out. Firebirds, first place with 82 points. Colorado, 76 points. Tucson, 75 points. Ontario Reign, 71. Bakersfield has 70 points. Then Calgary with 69. Abbotsford with 68. Yeah, Calgary went to a shootout. They picked up a point, so they leapfrogged from 7th to 6th. Abbotsford has 12 games left. San Diego has 15 left, but they are 16 back. 16 points back with 15 left to play. They can only get to 82 points. So Abbotsford needs to get to 82. The elimination right now, or the elimination number for the Gulls, is at 15. So if they lose 15 points between now and the end of the season, they will be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And it's starting to get to that point for San Diego where they're getting close to getting eliminated because you have the Firebirds, then you have Eagles Roadrunners, and then just a mishmash of teams. 71, 70, 69, 68. It is close between 4 and 7, and each of those teams are vying for home ice advantage in that first round play-in. Number 1 seed gets the bye. That belongs to the Firebirds. They are first place. Oh, the Firebirds also have 14 games left, so they have a lot of games. They have a bit of wiggle room. The Firebirds only need to win 9 of their last games, and they'll get the top spot in the whole division. So only needing 9 of their last 14 games, I would say the chances are good that the Firebirds are going to get that first round bye. As far as the Gulls, look, 16 points back with 15 left to play. It is almost time to say, let's pull the ripcord on this one. But help might be coming for the San Diego Gulls because we're going to have a black ace. Sam Colangelo. He played with the Broncos in the NCAA. He was in the NCDC tournament. So, yeah, that's the thing that happened. Sam Colangelo with Western Michigan, it was reported that he was going to be signed at the conclusion of his senior season. So look out in the next few days. You're probably going to see just the whole thing. Maybe you'll see like a post from the Gulls or Anaheim Ducks that they will sign Sam Colangelo. And that was according to a recent podcast on, I think it was Duck Stream, where Pat Verbeek said that Colangelo was going to sign. And he's had a good season with Western Michigan this season. They lost to St. Cloud State in the tournament. So with the Broncos out, Sam Colangelo, I think, could provide some help. So reinforcements are on the way. But after that, I honestly don't see probably any other help this season. There could be another black ace in Noah Warren, maybe, if things pan out that way. Mijatovic could come back. And I think the next San Diego Gulls podcast, I'll talk more about potential black aces that could be coming and players to watch out for. But we'll save that for a future podcast. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. But again, thank you all for watching. Thanks for listening. And by the way, to finish off the week, our next episode is going to be a mailbag episode. And several of you sent some pretty good questions. So I will answer those on the next podcast. So keep an eye out for all that. In the meantime, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget this podcast is free and available across all platforms, including Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ad-free on Amazon. We're also on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. You could follow me on X or Twitter at StimpyJD. The show's X or Twitter is at LO_Ducks. And you could email me at lockedonanaheimducks@gmail.com. And once again, thank you all for your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. For Locked On Gulls, I'm Jason J.D. Hernandez saying have a great rest of the day. Please remember to be safe out there, be kind to one another, and Ducks and Gulls fly together. Caw-caw, caw-caw.